chosen one. God is about to bless you with millions. Something is happening in your life right now, something you cannot fully explain, but you can feel it in your spirit. There is a quiet tension between where you are and where you are going. You wake up sometimes with thoughts that don't leave you, a sense that your life is standing at the edge of a shift, not random, not confusion, not imagination, but preparation. Because what is coming toward you is not ordinary, it is not small, and it is not delayed by mistake. You may have been asking why things took so long, why doors did not open, why effort did not match reward. But the truth is deeper than frustration. You are being reshaped. Life has a way of breaking old versions of you before it introduces new realities, and you have been in that process without even realizing it. Every disappointment you faced, every moment you felt unseen, every opportunity that slipped away, it was not rejection, it was redirection. Because the version of you that exists now is not the same one that started this journey. You think you are still waiting, but spiritually, you are already being positioned. There is a difference between delay and divine timing. And what you experienced was alignment in disguise. Let that sink in for a moment. Because while you were stressing about when, something higher was working on how and what kind. Millions are not just about money, they are about capacity, about responsibility, about becoming someone who can hold expansion without collapsing under it. And right now you are being stretched into that version. You may have noticed it. Your thinking has changed. Your reactions are not the same. Things that once controlled your emotions now feel lighter. That is growth, but not the kind people notice easily. This is internal restructuring, and it is necessary because what is coming will not match your old mindset. There will be opportunities that require calm thinking, decisions that require patience, and blessings that require emotional balance. If you were still the old version of yourself, you would have lost it all before understanding it. That is why certain things had to break away from your life. Not everything you lost was meant to stay. Not every person who left was meant to return. Not every closed door was meant to reopen. Some exits were protection in disguise. Some silence was guidance. Some endings were preparation for overflow. You did not see it then, but you are starting to understand it now. There is a strange phase before breakthrough where everything feels like it is standing still, but internally everything is moving. That is where you are. It may feel like nothing is happening, but behind the scenes everything is rearranging. Opportunities are aligning with timing, people are being positioned into your path, and resources are slowly syncing with your future. You are not chasing anything anymore, and that is exactly why things are starting to move toward you. Because desperation repels alignment, but grounded patience attracts it. There is a version of you that already exists in the future, stable, financially free, mentally calm, emotionally centered, and right now you are slowly catching up to that version. Every decision you make today is either shrinking or strengthening that bridge. That is why random distractions feel heavier now. That is why your intuition feels louder. That is why certain paths no longer feel right. You are being recalibrated. And when recalibration happens, confusion is normal because old patterns are being replaced with new direction. You are not lost, you are transitioning. And transitions always feel uncertain from the inside, but purposeful from the outside. There is also something else you need to understand deeply. Money is not just coming toward you randomly, it is responding to alignment. Your ideas, your discipline, your consistency, your resilience, these are not unnoticed. Even when no one claps for your efforts, even when results are slow, even when progress feels invisible, it is still building. Nothing you have done in silence is wasted. There is accumulation happening, not just financially but energetically, and accumulation always leads to overflow. But overflow does not arrive in fragments, it arrives in waves, first small signs, then unexpected openings, then acceleration, then expansion. And when it begins, it rarely stops the way people expect. You might feel moments of doubt in between. That is normal because your current environment still looks like waiting, but your future is already moving, and the mind always struggles when reality and destiny are not in sync yet. But trust this process, even if it does not fully make sense yet, because clarity often arrives after movement, not before it. You will understand everything later, but right now you are meant to continue even without full answers, even without visible proof, even without external validation, because your journey was never designed to be obvious in the middle. It was designed to make sense at the end. And the end is not far. You are closer than you think to a moment where things begin to shift in your favor in ways that feel almost unreal. But it will not feel like luck. It will feel like timing. It will feel like everything finally clicking into place after a long period of silence. And when that begins, you will remember this phase and realize nothing was accidental, not even the waiting. Now stay with this, because what comes next will go even deeper into the unfolding direction of your breakthrough. Chosen one, God is about to bless you with millions. There is something deeper unfolding in your life right now, something that does not announce itself loudly, but it changes everything quietly from behind the scenes. You may still feel like you're in the same place physically, but inside everything is not the same person anymore. And that is where the real shift begins. Because before external wealth arrives, internal alignment always comes first. You are in that exact stage now. There are moments in life when nothing seems to move, yet everything is being rebuilt in silence. That is what is happening with you. You are not stuck. You are being structured. And structure always comes before expansion. Think about it. If everything suddenly opened before you were ready, it would collapse under pressure. That is why life is careful with timing, even when it feels frustrating from your side. But from a higher perspective, nothing is delayed. Everything is being arranged. You might have noticed something strange recently. Your old desires don't hit the same anymore. Things you used to chase don't excite you the way they used to. People you once depended on emotionally don't feel as necessary anymore. And certain environments feel uncomfortable for no clear reason. That is not confusion, that is elevation. Because when your frequency changes, your old world starts feeling too small for you. And when your world becomes too small, expansion becomes inevitable. There is also something important happening in your decisions. You are starting to hesitate less. You are starting to overthink less. And even your instincts are becoming sharper. That is not coincidence, that is internal recalibration. Because when someone is being prepared for financial expansion, their decision-making ability must mature first. Millions do not respond well to emotional decisions. They respond to clarity, discipline, and awareness. And those qualities are being built inside you right now. Not in a classroom, not in theory, but through experience. Every challenge you faced recently had a hidden function. Some challenges were not meant to stop you. They were meant to remove what would stop you later. Certain distractions had to lose access to your life. Certain habits had to weaken. Certain attachments had to break. It might have felt painful, but it was protective. Because anything that cannot survive your future cannot remain in your present. There is also a silent truth you need to understand. Your breakthrough is not waiting for more effort alone. It is waiting for alignment between who you are and what you are carrying. Because sometimes people work hard but still remain blocked. Not because they are not capable, but because they are not aligned yet. And alignment is what you are entering now, slowly, quietly, but permanently. You may feel moments where time feels unusual. Some days feel slow, some feel fast, some feel heavy without reason, and some feel strangely peaceful. That is not randomness, that is transition energy. It happens when your current reality is disconnecting from your future reality, and during that phase, things feel unstable internally, even if nothing is visibly wrong. But that instability is temporary. What comes after it is clarity. There is a reason certain ideas are starting to come to your mind more frequently. Ideas about income, direction, change, new paths, new opportunities. They are not random thoughts, they are signals. Because breakthrough does not always arrive as opportunity first. Sometimes it arrives as awareness, and awareness changes behavior, and behavior changes outcome. You are also being separated from a certain kind of dependency, the dependency on external validation, the dependency on instant results, the dependency on emotional reassurance from others. Because the next level of your life requires independence in thinking. Not isolation, but independence. There is a difference. You are not meant to walk alone, but you are meant to think clearly without noise. And slowly, that clarity is building. You are beginning to notice patterns you ignored before. You are beginning to understand situations more deeply than you used to. You are beginning to see through distractions faster. That is growth in awareness. and awareness is one of the strongest indicators that your environment is about to change. Because when perception shifts, reality follows. There will come a point very soon where opportunities start appearing in unexpected ways, not always dramatic, not always obvious, sometimes subtle, sometimes indirect, sometimes disguised. But you will recognize them differently than before, because your discernment is improving, and what you once overlooked, you will now understand instantly. This is also where patience becomes powerful again. Not the painful kind of patience, but the aware kind, the kind that understands timing is not against you, it is working for you. And every day you remain steady, you are strengthening your position for what is coming. Because what is coming will not require panic, it will require readiness, and you are moving toward that readiness step by step, even if it does not feel like it yet, even if nothing looks dramatic yet. Because the most powerful shifts rarely begin with noise, they begin with silence, then alignment, then movement, then acceleration, and you are somewhere between silence and alignment right now, which means movement is closer than it appears. Chosen one, God is about to bless you with millions now. Something changes in the energy around your life, not in theory but in movement, because what has been building in silence is now starting to show early signs in reality, and you may not fully recognize it at first, but you will feel it before you understand it. There will be moments where things start to connect without effort, a conversation that opens a door, a delay that suddenly makes sense, an idea that finally feels usable instead of just imagination. These are not coincidences, these are signals of activation. Because when a life is transitioning into expansion, reality starts bending differently. You may notice opportunities becoming more frequent, but also more selective. Not everything will be for you. Not every offer will feel right. Not every direction will feel aligned. And that is intentional. Because abundance does not overwhelm you with everything, it filters your path so you only engage with what supports your next level. This is where your intuition becomes one of your strongest assets. You will start to know things without explanation. You will start to feel yes and no before logic catches up. You will start to sense timing in a way you cannot teach others. And this is not imagination, this is refinement. Because when pressure turns into wisdom, your perception becomes sharper than your environment. There is also something important happening in your external world. Certain people may begin to reappear, not all of them, but some. People from your past who now see you differently. People who once underestimated you but now feel your shift. But you must understand something clearly. Not everything that returns is meant to stay. Some returns are tests, not opportunities, and discernment will protect you more than emotion ever will. You are also entering a phase where your energy becomes noticeable without you trying. Even when you are quiet, people will sense something has changed. Not because you are loud, but because your presence becomes more grounded. This is what happens when internal alignment strengthens. You no longer seek validation, and because of that your energy stops leaking. And when energy stops leaking, power accumulates. That accumulation is what eventually turns into visible change. You may not see it daily, but over time it becomes undeniable. Small improvements first, then stability, then acceleration. That is the natural pattern of expansion. Financial movement in your life will also begin to shift in unexpected ways, not always from one source, but from multiple directions. Ideas you once ignored will suddenly feel valuable. Skills you underestimated will start becoming useful. Paths you dismissed will start making sense again, because when increase approaches, it reevaluates everything in your life. Nothing stays irrelevant forever. There is a deeper lesson here too. You are being trained to handle consistency, not just moments, because millions do not come as a one-time event. They come as a system. And systems require stability and mindset. That is why emotional chaos is slowly leaving your life. That is why overreaction is reducing. That is why clarity is increasing. You are being stabilized for sustainability. And this stabilization is not always comfortable. Sometimes it feels like isolation. Sometimes it feels like waiting. Sometimes it feels like nothing is happening. But beneath all of that, you are being made ready for responsibility. Because what you are moving toward is not just financial gain, it is financial responsibility. And responsibility requires maturity. You may start noticing a strange pattern soon. When you stop forcing things, things begin to come toward you. When you stop chasing, alignment starts approaching. When you stop panicking, timing starts revealing itself. This is not philosophy. This is how flow works, and you are entering flow again. There will be a point where you look back at this phase and realize nothing was truly blocked. It was just not the right timing for the version of you that was becoming, and that realization will remove all regret, because everything will finally make sense in sequence, not in fragments but in order. Right now you are at the edge of visible transformation. The internal shift has already happened. Now the external world is adjusting to match it. And that adjustment period is what you are stepping into, where results begin to appear slowly at first, then consistently. And once consistency begins, expansion follows naturally. So, pay attention now, not with fear but with awareness, because life is no longer only preparing you, it is starting to respond to you, and what comes next will feel like doors opening that you did not even knock on. That is how alignment works when it finally activates. There is still a deeper layer to what you are experiencing right now, something subtle but powerful enough to reshape your entire direction. Because after all the silence, after all the waiting, after all the inner adjustments, reality does not just change, it responds. And you are entering that response phase. You may start noticing something unusual in your daily flow. Things that used to feel difficult start feeling slightly easier. Things that used to block you start losing their weight. Things that used to confuse you start becoming clearer without effort. This is not random improvement, this is transition energy stabilizing your path. Because when a person is moving toward financial expansion, life does not instantly change everything. It gradually aligns everything slowly, intelligently, precisely. You are also stepping into a phase where repetition begins to matter more than intensity. In the past, you may have tried hard bursts of effort, emotional pushes, sudden motivation, quick decisions, but now something different is forming inside you. Consistency, even if it feels small, even if it feels slow, even if it feels unnoticed. Because real expansion is not built on emotional highs, it is built on steady direction, and you are being trained for that stability now. There will also be moments where you feel like nothing is happening externally, but internally your thinking is reorganizing itself. You will start seeing patterns in situations you ignored before. You will start understanding timing in ways you never considered. You will start noticing how certain delays actually protected your energy. This is wisdom forming through experience, not theory, not advice, but realization. And realization is what changes destiny faster than effort alone. Something else is also shifting quietly, your relationship with pressure. What used to overwhelm you will start feeling manageable. What used to break your focus will start losing influence. What used to create an emotional reaction will now feel distant. This is emotional regulation developing naturally, and it is extremely important for what is coming next. Because financial expansion requires mental stability more than excitement. You are also being prepared to make decisions faster, but more accurately, not rushed, not emotional, but clear. There will come moments where you will need to choose direction without overthinking, and your preparation is happening now in silence. Every small decision you make today is sharpening that ability. And even though you may not fully see the results yet, you are no longer in the same stage you started from. You have crossed invisible thresholds, points of no return in mindset, points of growth in awareness, points of release from old limitations. These are not dramatic moments, but they are powerful ones, because they permanently change how you respond to life. You may also notice something interesting soon. The right things will start staying in your life longer, and the wrong things will naturally fade away without force, without struggle, without explanation. This is alignment doing its work, because when your internal frequency shifts, external reality has no choice but to adjust. And slowly, almost quietly, momentum begins to build. Not sudden explosion, but steady acceleration. Ideas will start carrying more weight. Opportunities will start appearing more frequently, and your confidence in decisions will start becoming natural instead of forced. This is how breakthroughs actually begin, not loud but consistent. You are approaching a stage where you will begin to recognize something very important. You were never behind, you were being prepared. And what looked like delay was actually development. Now you are entering the phase where development turns into demonstration, where internal growth becomes external reality, where preparation becomes visible progress, and where everything you went through finally starts making sense in action, not just explanation.